The grand halls of the Galactic Empire's central palace buzzed with activity. Nobles from 1,000 worlds mingled, their exotic clothes and shimmering jewelry a testament to the Empire's vast reach. But today, something was different. An air of tension hung over the crowd. High Admiral Zexari stood near the throne, his tentacles twitching nervously. He leaned close to Emperor Vorn, whispering urgently, "Your Majesty, our long-range sensors have detected something. A fleet. It appeared out of nowhere at the edge of the Orion Arm." Emperor Vorn's crystalline eyes narrowed. "Impossible. We monitor all shipyards in the galaxy. No race could hide a fleet from us." But before the Admiral could reply, the grand doors burst open. A small figure strode in, dressed in a simple blue uniform that stood out among the flashy alien designs. The crowd parted, murmurs rippling through the hall. "Who dares interrupt?" Emperor Vorn began, but the words died in his throat as he recognized the insignia on the uniform. Earth, that backwater planet they had dismissed centuries ago. The human smiled, a gesture that showed too many teeth for the comfort of most aliens present. "I am Ambassador Chen of Earth. We request an audience, Your Majesty." Vorn's guards moved to intercept, but the Emperor waved them back. Curiosity got the better of him. "Speak, Earthling. What brings you to the heart of the Empire?" Chen's voice carried across the silent hall. "We come with a message and a demonstration. The galaxy as you know it is about to change." With a flick of his wrist, Chen activated a holographic display. The image of a massive fleet filled the air above the crowd. Ships of sleek, unfamiliar design hung in the void of space. Their hulls gleamed with a metal unknown to Imperial science. Gasps echoed through the hall. Admiral Zexari's skin paled to a sickly green. "Impossible," he muttered. "Our spy networks, our patrols." Chen's smile grew wider. "For centuries, you dismissed Earth as a primitive world, unworthy of your attention. That was your first mistake." The hologram zoomed in on one of the ships. Its design was unlike anything the Empire had seen. Smooth curves blended with sharp angles, hinting at technologies beyond their understanding. "While you conquered and subjugated, we prepared," Chen continued. "Every probe you sent, every scout ship that passed our borders, we learned from them all. We reversed-engineered your tech and made it better." Emperor Vorn rose from his throne, his voice thundering. "You dare threaten the Galactic Empire? We have ruled for 10,000 years." Chen shook his head. "Not a threat, Your Majesty. An invitation to a new era, one where Earth takes its rightful place among the stars." The hologram changed, showing the Earth fleet in action. Imperial analysts gasped as they saw the ships move in ways that defied known physics. Energy weapons of impossible power lashed out, cutting through simulated Imperial defenses like paper. Panic began to spread through the crowd. Nobles pushed and shoved, trying to get a better look or to flee the hall. Guards struggled to maintain order. Admiral Zexari turned to his emperor, mandibles clicking in distress. "Sire, if these images are accurate, we are outmatched. Our entire defense strategy is obsolete." Vorn sank back into his throne, the weight of millennia pressing down on him. For the first time in living memory, fear flickered in those ancient eyes. Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "We do not seek war, Emperor Vorn, but we will no longer be ignored. Earth stands ready to take its place as an equal in galactic affairs." He paused, letting the words sink in. "Our fleet will remain at the edge of your territory for now. You have one standard week to send a diplomatic mission. We await your response." With a final nod, Chen turned and walked out of the hall. The doors closed behind him with a resounding thud. Silence fell over the Imperial court. Then, like a dam breaking, 1,000 voices erupted in fear, anger, and disbelief. The Galactic Empire, unshaken for millennia, found itself facing the storm it never saw coming. In the shadows of the hall, information brokers were already slipping away, ready to sell this explosive news to the highest bidder. Within hours, the story of Earth's secret fleet would spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The balance of power was shifting, and at the heart of it all was a little blue planet that no one had bothered to take seriously. Until now. 5 years earlier, on a cloudy day in Geneva, Earth's top leaders gathered in secret. The room was plain, with no windows and heavy security outside. Around a large table sat presidents, prime ministers, and military chiefs from every major nation. General Sarah Chen, the same woman who would later become Earth's ambassador, stood at the head of the table. Her face was grim as she activated a holographic display. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, "what you're about to see will change everything." The hologram showed grainy footage of an alien ship. It hovered over a distant planet, its weapons reducing cities to ash. The room fell silent. "This," Chen said, "is what the Galactic Empire does to worlds that resist. We intercepted this transmission last month." President Okafor of the African Union leaned forward. "How long have we known about this empire?" Chen sighed. "Longer than we've admitted. Remember the meteor shower of 2036? That was our first contact. We shot down a scout ship." Gasps filled the room. Chen continued, "Since then, we've captured more, studied their tech, prepared in secret." "Why weren't we told?" demanded the Chinese premier, angered in his voice. "Fear of panic," Chen replied. "But now, we don't have a choice. The empire is expanding. Earth is in their path." The Russian president slammed his fist on the table. "Then we fight." Chen shook her head. "Not yet. We're not ready. But we have a plan." She changed the hologram. Now it showed designs for ships, weapons, and technology beyond anything Earth had publicly revealed. "Project Phoenix," Chen explained. "For 20 years, the best minds on Earth have been reverse engineering alien tech. We've made breakthroughs they can't imagine." The room buzzed with excitement and fear. The Japanese Prime Minister spoke up. "How do we hide this from the Empire? Surely they watch us." Chen smiled. "They do, but not as closely as they think. We feed them false data, show them what they expect to see, a primitive world arguing over petty issues." She pointed to the ship designs. "Meanwhile, we build these in secret. Underground facilities, hidden lunar bases. We use their own stealth tech against them." The British Prime Minister leaned back, amazed. "It's like a global Manhattan Project. But how do we fund this without anyone noticing?" "Black budgets," the American president chimed in. "Defense spending hidden in plain sight. Every nation contributing." Chen nodded. "Exactly. We've also had help from an unexpected source." She paused for effect. "Allies within the empire itself." The room erupted in questions. Chen raised her hand for silence. "There are other races unhappy with empire rule. They've been slipping us information, tech schematics. In return, we promise to help them when the time comes." Hours passed as Chen laid out the full plan. A secret fleet, built with technology the Empire couldn't imagine. Weapons that could pierce their strongest shields. Engines that could outrun their fastest ships. As the meeting wound down, the Indian Prime Minister spoke. Her voice was soft but determined. "We're betting everything on this. If we fail—" "We won't," Chen interrupted. "Humanity has always thrived when pushed to the edge. This is our greatest test and our greatest opportunity." The leaders looked at each other. Slowly, nods of agreement spread around the table. "Then it's settled," President Okafor said. "Operation Phoenix begins now. May God help us all." As they filed out, Chen stayed behind. She looked at the hologram of Earth's secret fleet, ships that didn't yet exist outside of plans and dreams. 5 years, she whispered to herself. 5 years to save humanity and change the galaxy forever. Outside, life went on. People worked, played, and lived, unaware of the titanic effort unfolding in secret. Earth seemed peaceful, primitive, unthreatening. But beneath the surface, in hidden labs and secret factories, a revolution was brewing. Humanity was preparing for the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. The vast emptiness of space suddenly came alive. Where moments ago there was nothing, now hundreds of ships shimmered into view. The Earth fleet had arrived. On the bridge of the flagship, Phoenix Rising, Admiral Yuki Tanaka stood tall. Her dark eyes scanned the tactical displays, a slight smile on her face. All ships accounted for, her second-in-command reported. Stealth systems disengage. Tanaka nodded. Send the signal. Let's give the Empire a proper introduction. Across the fleet, crews sprang into action. These weren't the spit and polish officers of old sci-fi movies. They were Earth's best and brightest, chosen from every nation, trained in secret for years for this moment. The first to react was an Imperial patrol ship. It had been drifting lazily, its crew bored with their routine mission. Now alarms blared as their sensors overloaded with data. "Captain," a young officer shouted, his tentacles waving in panic. "Unknown fleet detected. It's massive." The Imperial captain, a veteran of 100 battles, felt his blood run cold. Nothing in his experience had prepared him for this. "Send word to High Command," he ordered, "and pray it reaches them in time." Back on the Phoenix Rising, Tanaka received a new report. "Admiral, the Imperial ship is transmitting. Should we jam their communications?" Tanaka shook her head. "Let them call for help. It's time the whole galaxy knew we're here." She turned to her communications officer. "Broadcast on all frequencies, in every language we know. Tell them who we are and why we've come." As the message went out, the Earth fleet began to move. Ships arranged themselves in a formation that would have been impossible with older technology. They seemed to dance between the stars, their movements fluid and graceful. On nearby Imperial worlds, the news spread like wildfire. Grainy images of Earth ships filled view screens. Alien scientists argued over the impossible readings they were getting. Military leaders scrambled to respond, only to find their own ships hopelessly outclassed. One brave Imperial captain decided to test the newcomers. His cruiser, once the pride of the Imperial fleet, charged towards the Earth formation. "Let's see what these upstarts are made of," he growled. Tanaka watched the Imperial ship approach. Tactical. Prepare a demonstration. Minimal force. Maximum impact. A single Earth ship broke formation. It was smaller than the Imperial cruiser, sleek and deadly. As the cruiser opened fire, the Earth ship vanished. The Imperial crew cheered, thinking they'd scored a hit. Their joy was short-lived. The Earth ship reappeared behind them, having phased through solid matter. A pulse of energy lashed out, disabling the cruiser's systems without destroying it. "Imperial vessel neutralized," Tanaka's tactical officer reported. "No casualties." Tanaka allowed herself a small smile. "Send a rescue team. Let's show them we can be merciful too." As Earth shuttles approached the drifting cruiser, its crew watched in awe and fear. The humans who boarded wore no bulky spacesuits. Instead, they seemed protected by a shimmering field of energy. One of the humans approached the Imperial captain. "Your ship will be operational again soon," she said, her words automatically translated. "We suggest you use it to spread the word. Earth is no longer a secret and no longer weak." Throughout the sector, similar scenes played out. Earth ships appeared near major Imperial installations, always just out of reach. They didn't attack, didn't conquer. They simply existed, a challenge to everything the Empire thought it knew. On the Phoenix Rising, Admiral Tanaka received a priority message. Ambassador Chen's meeting with the Emperor had gone as planned. The diplomatic dance could now begin. Tanaka turned to her crew, pride shining in her eyes. "Phase 1 complete," she announced. "Well done, everyone. We've shown them our strength. Now comes the hard part." As cheers erupted around her, Tanaka gazed out at the stars. Humanity had taken its first true steps into the galactic stage. Whatever came next, there was no turning back. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Empire was in chaos. Alien delegates from 1,000 worlds shouted and argued. Some demanded immediate war against Earth. Others called for caution. A few even suggested surrender. Emperor Vorn sat silent on his crystalline throne, his ancient eyes watching the scene unfold. Beside him, High Admiral Zexari fidgeted nervously. "Your Majesty," Zexari whispered, "we must act. Every moment we delay, more systems are questioning our power." Vorn raised a hand for silence. Slowly, the room quieted. "For 10,000 years," he began, his voice echoing, "we have ruled the stars. We will not panic at the first sign of challenge." A reptilian senator hissed in disagreement. "But, sire, you've seen the reports. Their technology, their ships, are impressive," Vorn finished, "but not unbeatable. We must learn more before we act." As the debate raged on, news spread across the galaxy. On countless worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes huddled around view screens, watching grainy footage of Earth ships. In smoky bars and secret meeting places, rebels and dissidents whispered excitedly. Could this be the chance they had waited for? On the jungle world of Axarthal, Queen Lirax addressed her people. "For generations, we have bowed to imperial rule," she said, her feathers bristling with emotion. "Perhaps it is time we found new allies." Similar scenes played out on dozens of worlds. Long-suppressed races saw a glimmer of hope in Earth's sudden rise. Ancient rivalries were set aside as planets began to form new alliances. Back in the imperial capital, Emperor Vorn received a steady stream of reports. Another fleet of Earth ships had appeared near the core worlds. A mining colony on the rim had declared independence. 3 imperial governors had gone missing, presumably defected. Vorn turned to his most trusted advisor, an ancient AI housed in a floating sphere. "What are our options?" The AI's voice was cold, logical. "Based on current data, a direct military confrontation with Earth has a 12.3% chance of success. Diplomatic engagement, 37.8% chance of favorable outcome. Recommended course of action: divide and conquer. Turn other races against the humans." Vorn nodded slowly. "Make it so. Spread rumors, offer bribes. Let's see how strong these new alliances really are." As Imperial agents slipped out into the galaxy, Earth's leaders were facing challenges of their own. In a secure bunker deep beneath Geneva, Ambassador Chen faced a wall of angry faces on a view screen. "We understand your concerns," she said calmly, "but we can't send our entire fleet to protect your world. We must think strategically." The alien leader, a being of living flame, flickered angrily. "You promised support if we stood against the Empire. Without your ships, we'll be crushed." Chen sighed. This was the third such call today. Everyone wanted Earth's protection, but few were willing to commit their own forces. The burden of leadership weighed heavily. Meanwhile, on the edge of known space, an Earth scout ship made a startling discovery. Captain Raj Kumar stared at his sensor readings in disbelief. "Are you sure about this?" he asked his science officer. The officer, a brilliant woman named Dr. Ling, nodded excitedly. "Positive, sir. It's a wormhole, stable, and leading somewhere outside our galaxy." Kumar's mind raced. A way out of the galaxy, or a potential invasion route for some unknown threat. He had to report this immediately. As the scout ship raced back to Earth, the political landscape continued to shift. New alliances formed and broke apart daily. The Empire's grip on power weakened, but it was far from beaten. In his palace, Emperor Vorn gazed out at the glittering capital. For the first time in millennia, he felt uncertain. "Interesting times," he muttered to himself, using an old Earth phrase he had recently learned. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The age of imperial rule was ending. But what would take its place? Only time would tell. The massive hangar bay of Earth's hidden lunar base buzzed with activity. Scientists and engineers swarmed around a sleek, silver spacecraft unlike any seen before. Its hull shimmered with an otherworldly glow, hinting at the revolutionary technology within. Dr. Aisha Patel, lead designer of the ship, stood nearby, explaining its features to a group of wide-eyed alien ambassadors. "The starburst represents the pinnacle of our reverse-engineered tech," she said proudly. "Its hull is made of smart matter, able to reshape itself for maximum efficiency in any environment." One of the aliens, a tall, spindly being, raised a tentacle. "Impressive, but how does it compare to Imperial ships?" Aisha smiled. "Let me show you." She tapped her wrist computer, and a holographic display sprang to life. It showed the starburst easily outmaneuvering and outgunning simulated Imperial vessels. "Impossible," whispered another ambassador, his scales changing color in awe. "That's not even the best part," Aisha continued. She pointed to the ship's core. "This is our crown jewel. We call it the quantum fold drive." The hologram zoomed in, showing a pulsing, crystalline structure. "It doesn't just move through space," Aisha explained. "It folds space-time itself, allowing for near-instantaneous travel across vast distances." The aliens murmured in amazement. One of them, braver than the rest, asked, "How did you develop such technology so quickly?" Aisha's face grew serious. "Necessity, desperation, and a lot of luck. When we realized the Empire was coming, we threw everything we had into development. Every nation shared their secrets. We even received help from unexpected sources." She glanced meaningfully at one of the ambassadors, a shadowy figure who had remained silent throughout. This being represented one of the secret factions within the Empire that had aided Earth. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Imperial scientists were in a frenzy. Fragments of data on Earth's technology had leaked, and the Empire's best minds struggled to make sense of it. In a top-secret Imperial lab, Chief Scientist Zorn Tech pored over sensor readings from the recent Earth fleet sighting. His many eyes blinked rapidly in frustration. "It defies all known laws of physics," he muttered. "Their ships move in ways that should be impossible. And this energy signature, I've never seen anything like it." His assistant, a young prodigy, spoke up hesitantly. "Sir, what if they're not using our laws of physics?" Zorn Tech turned all his eyes to the assistant. "Explain." "Well," the assistant continued, gaining confidence, "we've always assumed there's only one way to manipulate space-time. But what if the humans found another? A whole new set of rules we never knew existed." Zorn Tech was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, he began to laugh. "Of course, we've been looking at this all wrong. We're not behind. We're on the wrong path entirely." He rushed to his communication panel. "Get me the Emperor. We need to redirect all our resources. It's time to start from scratch." Back on Earth, in a quiet garden outside the Geneva complex, two figures met in secret. One was Ambassador Chen, the other a hooded alien. "Your information was correct," Chen said quietly. "The Empire is starting to unravel. More systems defect every day." The alien nodded. "As we predicted. But be warned, Ambassador. The Empire is wounded, but not defeated. They will not go quietly." Chen's face hardened. "We're prepared for that. But tell me, why help us? What does your faction gain?" The alien was silent for a moment. Then it pulled back its hood, revealing a face startlingly similar to a human's. "Because, Ambassador, we are more alike than you know. My people were the Empire's first victims, long ago. We've waited millennia for this chance." Chen gasped. "You're—" "Yes," the alien said. "We are your ancestors, and it's time for us to come home." As Chen stood there, mind reeling from this revelation, alarms began to blare across the complex. Something big was happening. The final confrontation with the Empire was about to begin. The war room deep beneath Geneva was a hive of activity. Holographic displays showed fleets moving across the galaxy, worlds changing allegiance, and battles erupting on distant frontiers. At the center of it all stood Admiral Yuki Tanaka, her face grim as she surveyed the unfolding chaos. "Report," she barked, and her staff scrambled to obey. The Empires launched a major offensive in the Orient sector. One officer said, "They're trying to cut off our supply lines to the rebel worlds." Another chimed in, "We've lost contact with our base on Proxima Centauri. It might be under attack." Tanaka absorbed the information, her mind racing. This was it, the Empire's last, desperate push to regain control. Everything they had worked for hung in the balance. Just then, Ambassador Chen burst into the room, looking shaken. "Admiral, we have a situation. The wormhole we discovered. The Empire knows about it. They're sending a massive fleet through." A hush fell over the war room. If the Empire gained control of the wormhole, they could bring reinforcements from beyond the galaxy. The war would be lost before it truly began. Tanaka's eyes narrowed. "Then we'll just have to beat them to it. Prep the starburst for immediate launch." As orders were relayed and ships mobilized, Tanaka turned to Chen. "What about our ancestral friends? Can they help?" Chen nodded. "They're already moving. But Admiral, there's more. The wormhole, it's not just a strategic asset. It's the key to something bigger." She lowered her voice. "Our ancestors say it leads to the birthplace of their civilization, of all advanced life in the universe. If the Empire reaches it first." Tanaka understood. This wasn't just about Earth anymore. The fate of all sentient life hung in the balance. Across the galaxy, on the Imperial capital world, Emperor Vorn was also preparing for battle. His once resplendent throne room was now a makeshift command center, littered with tactical displays and communication arrays. "The humans think they've outsmarted us," he growled to his generals. "But we still have one card left to play." He gestured to a shadowy figure in the corner. "Our agents have succeeded. The weapon is ready." The figure stepped forward, revealing itself as a human, a traitor to Earth. "The virus is primed, Your Majesty. Once unleashed, it will infect every piece of Earth technology, turning their own ships and weapons against them." Vorn's crystalline eyes glittered with malice. "Excellent. Prepare to broadcast it across all frequencies." But even as the Empire set its plan in motion, Earth's allies were making moves of their own. On 100 worlds, oppressed species rose up against their imperial overlords. Ships thought long destroyed emerged from hidden bases, rallying to Earth's banner. And deep in unknown space, the ancestral race that had contacted Earth prepared for their return. Ancient engines hummed to life, awakening vast fleets that had slumbered for millennia. Back on the Starburst, now racing towards the wormhole, Tanaka received a priority message. Her eyes widened as she read it. "Change of plans," she announced to her crew. "We're not just racing the Empire to the wormhole. We're leading the charge for a final, decisive battle." She brought up a galactic map, showing friendly forces converging from all directions. Earth fleets here and here, rebel forces from these sectors, and our ancestors. She pointed to a massive cluster of ships approaching from the galactic rim. "They'll hit the Empire from behind." One of her officers spoke up, voice trembling with excitement. "Admiral, if this works." Tanaka nodded. "If this works, we end 10,000 years of tyranny in a single stroke." As the starburst accelerated to impossible speeds, Tanaka allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had come so far from a primitive world at the galaxy's edge to the linchpin of a cosmic rebellion. "All hands, battle stations," she ordered. "We're about to make history." The ship plunged into the swirling vortex of the wormhole, leading an armada towards humanity's greatest test and its greatest destiny. The space around the wormhole erupted into chaos. Thousands of ships, representing dozens of species and alliances, clashed in a battle that would decide the fate of the galaxy. At the heart of the conflict, the starburst danced through enemy fire, its advanced technology allowing it to move in ways that defied belief. Admiral Tanaka stood on the bridge, barking orders as her crew fought with everything they had. "Quantum shields at 60%, an officer reported. Enemy capital ship approaching from Vector 3 to 17. Tanaka nodded grimly. Initiate fold maneuver Alpha. Let's show them what this ship can really do. In an instant, the starburst vanished, reappearing behind the massive Imperial vessel. Before the enemy could react, Earth's flagship unleashed a barrage of energy weapons, cutting through the Imperial ship's defenses like they were paper. Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out. Earth's advanced ships, coupled with the determination of their rebel allies, slowly pushed back the Imperial forces. But the Empire wasn't done yet. Emperor Vorn, watching from his command ship, gave the order they had been waiting for. Activate the virus. Let's see how well these humans fight when their own technology turns against them. For a moment, it seemed like the tide was turning. Several Earth ships suddenly went dark, their systems corrupted by the Imperial virus. Rebel vessels found themselves under attack from their own allies. On the starburst, alarms blared as the virus attempted to penetrate their defenses. But then, something unexpected happened. The ship's eye, a culmination of human ingenuity and alien technology, spoke up. Virus detected, it announced calmly, initiating countermeasures. To the amazement of the crew, the starburst systems not only repelled the attack, but began to broadcast a cure to other affected ships. Tanaka allowed herself a small smile. Their preparations and precautions had paid off. Meanwhile, at the mouth of the wormhole, a new fleet emerged. Ships of impossible size and beauty, their hulls shimmering with energy patterns never before seen. Humanity's ancestors had arrived. Their leader, and being of pure energy contained in a humanoid form, broadcast a message to all ships in the area. Children of Earth, and all who fight for freedom, we stand with you. The cycle of tyranny ends today. With precision born from eons of experience, the ancestral fleet carved through the Imperial defenses. Their weapons didn't just destroy. They unraveled the very fabric of the enemy ships, erasing them from existence. Emperor Vorn, seeing his forces crumble, made a desperate gambit. His flagship charged towards the wormhole, hoping to escape and rebuild his empire in another galaxy. All ships, Tanaka commanded, converge on the Imperial flagship. We can't let them escape. What followed was a chase of cosmic proportions. The starburst, joined by the fastest ships from every allied fleet, pursued Vorn's vessel into the swirling vortex of the wormhole. Reality itself seemed to bend around them as they traversed impossible distances in moments. Strange visions flashed by, glimpses of other universes, of pasts and futures that might have been. Finally, they emerged in a place beyond imagination. A vast, star-like structure hung in space, the birthplace of galactic civilization. And there, trapped between Earth's forces and this cosmic wonder, floated the Imperial flagship. Tanaka opened a channel. Emperor Vorn, your reign is over. Surrender and face justice for your crimes against the galaxy. For a long moment, there was silence. Then, to everyone's shock, Vorn's voice came through, sounding tired and old. Perhaps it is time. We have seen wonders today that defy our understanding. Maybe there is more to the universe than conquest and rule. As the Emperor's ship powered down its weapons, a cheer went up across the Allied fleet. The war was over. A new era of galactic cooperation could begin. Back at the wormhole, the news spread quickly. Rebel worlds celebrated their newfound freedom. Former enemies laid down arms, marveling at the possibilities of peace. And on Earth, as news of the victory reached them, humans looked to the stars with new eyes. They had faced their greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The galaxy was open to them now, full of wonders to explore and new friends to meet. The age of the Galactic Empire had ended. The age of Earth and of a united galaxy had just begun.